Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and today I'm going to review the 4K Blu-ray edition of Independence Day. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. You can also find me over Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Movie Guy 365, as well as over at the Disney Magic Hour podcast. I'll put a link for that in the description. Okay, Independence Day is now available on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, and this has been out for a couple years now. This is one of the early entries from 20th Century Fox onto the format. So, you know, they have a history of doing a good job when it comes to these discs. We're going to talk about that picture quality and audio, but first let's do a quick review here of the movie. Hey, what can I say? It's a popcorn movie. It's one of those summer entries. It really put Will Smith on the map as far as an action movie star, and just really solidified him there in that respect. Also, he followed this up immediately with Men in Black, and it's really just a good Will Smith kind of project. But it's really just, it's not a thinking man's movie. It's an alien, blow him up, end of the world type scenario. And I think it's really one of those movies that should have been seen in the theaters. But if you have a really decent home theater, I think you're going to be very pleased here. It's not, you know, overly deep as far as the film goes, but it's still a lot of fun. It's entertaining, and it's, you know, after all these years, it's very endearing, you know, as far as going back to watch it is. But yeah, all right, we're going to talk about the picture quality and audio in just a moment, but first let's do a quick unboxing. So, Independence Day on 4K. As you can see, it did not come with a slipcover. These are one of the early editions of the movie, so there's no known slipcover that came with this particular release, but they may release this in a Steelbook edition down the line. So there we go, Independence Day, and then the back cover, and then the spine, and then, you know, just interior. Got some artwork on the 4K disc, which is always appreciated, and the two Blu-ray discs that come with it as well. So yeah, very cool overall presentation. Now let's talk about the picture quality and the audio. Independence Day was shot on film and supports a native 4K resolution. It also supports a HDR10 grading. Now, for the picture quality, I think it's a little bit of a mixed bag. This is being one of the early entries from 20th Century Fox. A little bit of forgiveness can be applied here, you know, this being one of the initial releases from the studio. But I think some of the pros outweigh some of the cons. So one of the cons is going to be compression. A little bit of compression artifacts are sprinkled throughout the film, usually in those darker scenes. A couple scenes that, you know, involving the alien spaceship when they're particularly bright scene, you know, during their initial attack. And also some of the darker sky shots can be a little bit blocky. It does creep in. HDR10 does alleviate that to a degree, but I think for the most part, it's a little bit of a rough image in that area. Film grain is also appropriate. It gets a little heavy-handed on occasion, but I think if you're a lover of film grain, there's a lot to enjoy here. HDR10, when it comes to color, it's not as popish as we would expect as far as, you know, movies that we get today. But during the initial, you know, format years, it's used a little more sparingly, and I think the color levels are pretty nice. During the ship-to-ship battles with the aliens firing their plasma laser blasts, it does stand out. It looks, you know, particularly nice. But other aspects of color look good. A little more on the natural side, but it's still nicely used by HDR10. Level of detail is good as well. You know, costuming, skin textures, they all look great. The up-close shots of the alien spacecraft look fantastic. And you can definitely tell that during those practical effects scenes, you know, the enhancement in detail is quite, you know, useful. Black levels can get a little bit on the rough side, once again going back to the compression artifacts. So some of those scenes look a little bit blocky, but I think there are some nice deep blacks levels here, and for the most part, it's good. It's just not going to be a reference quality as far as picture. Independence Day supports a DTS:X audio mix, and I gotta say, it's very impressive. This is an action movie. This is one of those summer action movies, so of course, home theater workout is going to be essential here, and I think that DTS:X does a wonderful job there. As far as those battles go, I think they're the great highlight here. The ship-to-ship fights, the initial attack by the aliens are also rendered really nicely and make great use of all the speakers. Now, as far as dialogue coming through the center channel goes, it's pretty consistently good. I think there's only maybe once or twice you couldn't understand what somebody was saying, but for the most part, it's pretty clean and clear. And I think those action-heavy moments could have been raised a little bit higher as far as dialogue goes, but I think for the most part, it's effective. The front levels sound great. They handle a lot of the action, and it does so really nicely. I think it's a good use of those speakers. Just a lot going on at any given moment. It's very heavy, and it handles it pretty nicely. Mid-levels and rears, those action scenes are really going to bring you right into the action, and they really do a good job. Everything from those ship-to-ship battles, lasers, gunfire, a ricochet, those things make good use of those speakers, and I think you'll be very pleased in that regard. And the height speakers are used mostly during the action elements, but also during musical moments, musical cues, and once again, the ship-to-ship battles make good use of those particular speakers. The LFE is very aggressive, but I didn't feel it was overly aggressive. I think it struck the right chord. People that like a real heavy-handed LFE might be a little bit disappointed, but I think for the most part, from the opening shots, it shows that it's here to play, and I think it's a good use of what we get here in that LFE element. Very pleased here with the results of the audio presentation on Independence Day. This is a movie that it needs to be seen with a home theater, and I think you'll be very pleased. The picture quality of Independence Day on 4K, I'm going to give this one a B+. I think a couple issues hinder it from the score. I would say compression is a little bit heavy-handed throughout the film, and the black levels could use a little bit of work, and they're a little bit murky at times. But the HDR10 does bring out the color, and I think for the most part, it's a really solid presentation, and there's appropriate levels of film grain. For the audio mix, I will go ahead and give this one a A. It's a solid presentation. It's made for home theaters. It does a great job utilizing all the speakers, everything from your fronts to your rears to the heights. It's all being rendered really nicely, and it's a very aggressive LFE element included in there. So that is my review of Independence Day on 4K Blu-ray. Let me know in the comments section below. If you're a fan of the movie, do you have the 4K? What do you think of it? In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.